In this video, we will not only take a look at IPv6 with BGP, we will also wrap up our IPv6 section. So what we're going to go ahead and do here is we're going to go ahead and talk about IPv6 BGP, and then we're going to go in there and get the configuration rolling. And quite frankly, the stuff that we've talked about so far with BGP from the IPv4 side is relatively there's so much carryover, so much information carries over between IPv4 and IPv6 BGP. There really isn't a whole lot for me to show you other than some of the tweaks and stuff like that you can do with it. So everything else is pretty much the same. So you go underneath the IPv6 address family and you do everything you need to from there. So just like OSPF or EIGRP, you have the address family capability, and go from there. So just for some back-end stuff, when you're dealing with multi-protocol BGP, when you're dealing with AFI, so this is going to be address family identifier and sub address family identifier. The idea behind these two is actually very, very simple. AFI, it stands for IPv4 or IPv6. SAFI is unicast or multicast. So the idea here is SAFI or AFI2, SAFI1, IPv6 unicast. Very simple and straightforward to break down and to talk about. So we're going to take a look at that in more detail here, and we're actually going to get into implementation and talk about the details behind it. So everything else for IPv6 BGP applies that you now know about regular BGP. So everything that we've talked about so far for the version 4 carries over for version 6. So one of the things that I will show you that is not as prevalent, and don't mind the IPv6 over MPLS, that's outside of our scope, is the link local configuration here. And link local, when you're dealing with that, this is kind of one of those corner case type of designs. When you're dealing with it, you really have to know how to configure this stuff, and you have to be able to go in here, and I'll show you guys how to do a link local configuration. When you're dealing with link local IPv6, you have to specify what interface you're going to be pointing it towards. So in this case, it's going to be link local the neighbor. It's going to be neighbor address, the %, and then the interface that you're going to be sending it out of, and then the update source is going to be the interface, and that's if you're going to be changing the update source. So that's the idea behind how you would go in there and set that up. So pretty much what I'm going to show you guys how to do now is go in and set BGP with IPv6 up. It's actually really simple to do. So we have our breakdown from earlier, and what we're going to do is we're going to start on the PE or the CE devices, get them all configured, and then go to the PE devices and get them configured. So we're going to do router 2. I'm going to start off out of the gate with the configuration for the link local, just to show you, or I'll start that on 4. And then 2 I'll do it the normal way, and then I'll show you how to do it via link local. So from here, we're going to type in router. BGP is going to be 1267. We're going to type in address family IPv6 unicast. And we're going to do what now? Well, it's actually, we don't need to go underneath unicast now. We need to type in the, this is going to be the global process, and then you go underneath the address family and you activate it. So we're going to type in neighbor 2001:23::, and I think 3 is show IPv6 interface brief. 3. So 3/64 or remote AS of 38, and then address family IPv6 unicast, and then we're going to activate it. And we're going to go to 3. We're going to go to global config, router BGP 38. We're going to type in neighbor of 2001:23::2, remote AS of 1267, address family IPv6 unicast, and IPv6 unicast routing, router BGP 38, address family IPv6, and then the configuration we just popped in there, and then activate. So momentarily we should get that configuration to show up. We should get an active adjacency, and we do. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to type in redistribute connected. And the reason I'm doing that is because when you do that, it automatically is going to advertise these guys out and get everything situated for that. So that'll get us the configuration we need for that. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go for the router 3 to 4 connection. I'm going to exit out of here. I'm going to type in neighbor, and I'm going to, from the link local address, I'm going to say neighbor, or actually do show interface serial 2/1, and we have this. Oh, you know what? There is no MAC address on the serial interface. That is right. So you know what? I'll do 2 to 7. I'll do a BGP configuration. So let's go to 2 real quick. We'll type in do show. Actually, let's exit out of here. Do show interface E1/0. So we have our MAC address here. So we're going to copy this guy right here into our configure. We'll type in neighbor, and then the address is going to be this, or neighbor do show. Sorry, it was do show IPv6 interface serial 2/, or I'm sorry, Ethernet 1/0. There we go. This is what I needed. So grab that, and then neighbor, and then grab this address, and then do a %sign. So shift %, question mark, and then the name of the address, or the word. Actually, no, I'm sorry. It's going to be : 7, or no. Let me double check my notes real quick. Oop, too far. Address, %sign, neighbor FE80 : Y. Oh, that's right. I gotta set that up. So, let me type in do show IPv6 interface brief. That's my problem. Well, I've got the correct address here. But it's FFE80. Let me go to interface E1/0 and type in the IPv6 address is going to be FE80 : 2 link local. Just this will make it easier for the example. So it's going to take down our adjacency with OSP version 3, but that's okay. I'm not too concerned about that. I want to do BGP right now. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to type in router, or so there it goes. It just had to reassign itself. Let's go to 7, do the exact same thing. So on interface Ethernet 1/0, IPv6 address is going to be FE80 : 7 link local. By typing that link local in there, it pops it in as link local. So we're going to go back to 2. We'll type in router BGP is 1267. We'll type in neighbor FE80 : 7 %sign, or %sign is going to be I think that's the way to do it. Let's see here. Remote AS of 1267. See, it says invalid scope, unable to configure link local address. And you have to do %sign. Or actually, let's go to the end here and pull this stuff in. %sign, and then you have to specify. You know what? It might not be supported in this config. That's what I'm thinking. It might not be supported. So, but that's the configuration anyway to use. So I'm not going to waste any more time. I'm going to continue on getting the rest of the connections up. So we'll type in neighbor of 2001 : 34 : and I think 4 has do show IPv6 interface brief : 4. That's right. 4 remote AS of 495. Address family IPv6. Or actually, exit out of here and type in IPv6 unicast. Router BGP 38. And then address family IPv6 unicast. And activate that. And actually, I didn't have to do that, but we're going to go to router 4, and we're going to, because IPv6 address family has already been configured, router BGP 495, neighbor of 2001 colon 34 colon 3, remote AS of 38, and then address family IPv6, and then activate it. There we have it. So there we go. We have our second adjacency, and we're going to be able to type in do show BGP VPN or IPv6 unicast and summary. So we have that. We have the prefixes received. We have the connection there, and it's still going through the best path selection algorithm. So we have that set up there. So what we're going to be able to do is, as soon as that's done and good to go, those routes will get propagated to the global routing table, and we'll be able to reach router 2 from 4. While that's doing that, I'm going to go down to 7, get 7 configured. I'm going to type in a router BGP 1267, type in address family, or sorry, neighbor of 2001 colon 78 colon, and what's 8's address? Show IPv6 interface brief. We have 87. That's 87 colon 8 for both. So we're going to go ahead and go back to 7, and it's 87 colon 8, remote AS of 38. And there's a question with the connection between, in order for router 2 to be able to see router 10 at the bottom, won't you have to have router 3 and 8 peering with each other? And the answer to that question is yes. I will actually do that later on. Towards the end of this video, I'm actually going to go ahead and I'll set up so 3 and 8 are route reflector clients of each other. So we'll get that. And then we're going to type in address family IPv6 unicast and activate. And from there, we're going to go to 8, and we're going to set up our three main connections up there: global config, IPv6 unicast, router BGP 38, neighbor of 2001, and as you can see, I don't have this other connection to 2/2 set up yet. Colon 87 colon 7, remote AS of 1267, and I'm also going to set it up so neighbor of 2001 colon 98 colon 9, because that's /24, is going to be remote AS 495, and address family, we do this, neighbor of 2001 colon 108 colon 10, or sorry, 2. Well, no, 10 will be fine because I'm on a or no, wait, that's, yeah, 10's fine because I'll be using a /64. Remote AS of 10, and then I'll type in address family IPv6, and then the we'll do activate and pull these guys in and activate, and 108, and then activate that one as well. And then we're going to go over to, we're going to do a redistribute connected on this guy. We're going to go over to 9, do show IPv6 interface brief, just to make sure I have my configuration spot on. So, and we're going to type in router BGP 495, and then we're going to type in neighbor of 2001 colon 98 colon 8, remote AS of 38, address family IPv6, and then and that's pretty much all there really is to it. As soon as this comes up, we should be good to go. And then we're going to go back over to 8 while all this stuff is connecting. So as you can see, okay, so 9 just came up, and we already had 8 configured. So if we type in do show BGP IPv6 unicast, you'll see that I have those two connections up and running. So we're going to type in interface serial 2/2. We're going to type in IPv6 address is going to be 2001 colon 108 colon 8/64. That's all we have to type there. We're going to go to router 10, and on global config interface serial 1/0, we're going to type in IPv6 address is going to be 2001:108:10/64. We're going to type in exit out of here and type in IPv6 unicast routing. We're also going to type in router BGP 10. We're going to type in BGP router ID is going to be 10.1. or 10.10.10.10. Type in neighbor of 2001:108:8 remote AS of 38. Address family IPv6, and then activate. You'll get pretty. There's a comment. Can you go any faster? It just comes with a lot of practice. I mean, that's the bulk of what I've I've taken the CCIE lab exam twice, and both times that I've taken it, I finished an hour and a half early, and gone through and just made sure everything that I thought was supposed to be configured correctly was configured correctly. So, you spend a lot of time making sure you have this config down, and honestly, the bulk of the configuration in both labs I did was in Notepad. So as I'm running through this config and doing the question mark as I go along, just so you guys can see how to build this syntactically. But when I'm in the lab, you can't talk when you're in the lab. You can't, there's minor. Both times I took it, no one ever said anything. You really can't say that anything, because when you're taking route switch, I think there's like 4 or 5 lab seats in Raleigh where I've taken mine, and you don't want to be, sitting there talking to yourself. So you're constantly thinking as you're going to the lab, am I doing this right and stuff like that, and so yeah, your config when you're building it, I get to the point where I'm spot on with it, and I'm able to copy and paste in, and the bulk of it I'm doing in Notepad. Just the initial configuration, and anything advanced I do on the CLI. So you just get fast. I mean, I'm doing this for years. So professionally for 4, working with Cisco for 5. So it's just one of those things. And we're talking. It's the beginning of August 2015. So I'm pretty quick on the CLI, as you can probably tell. So although I do take the compliment, it's you'll get fast the more time you put into anything, really. So we're going to type in redistribute, or I'll type in the network command of 2001:108:/64, because I don't have to specify 10 unless I'm advertising a host route, and I don't have the interface configured with the /128. So by typing in the 2001 there, that'll give me 2001:108/64. That'll advertise my connected network to router 8, which I don't technically need to do so. So I'm going to type in do show BGP IPv6 unicast, and there I have routes. So now I don't have 23 and I don't have 34. And again, the reason why I don't have those is because of the fact that there's no I'm not advertising links between 2 and 7 or 4 and 9. And I don't want to do that. What I want to do between 3 and 8 now is I'm going to back out of here, and I'm going to type in do show IPv6 interface brief. And right now I only have connections between the serial connections. I'm going to go to interface Ethernet 1/0 and type in IPv6 address is going to be 2001:38:3/64 on router 3. I'm going to go to router 8 and do the exact same thing. Interface Ethernet 1/0 IPv6 interface address is going to be 2001:38:8/64. I'm going to type in router EIGRP CCNP. I'm going to type in address family IPv4 or IPv6. Autonomous system is going to be 38. I'm going to type in do show IPv6 EIGRP interfaces. Now see how it goes on all the interfaces? I don't want it to be on all the interfaces. So now I have to go to AF interface default. I'm going to type in default. That's going to go to all of them. Type in default. I'm going to type in, hit the enter key. I'm going to type in shutdown. Now if we type in that same command I just did a minute ago, now they're all down. I have to go to exit out of here and type in AF interface Ethernet 1/0 and type in no shutdown. And I get Ethernet 1/0. I'm going to do the same thing on router 3. Type in router EIGRP CCNP. I'm going to type in address family IPv6 autonomous system 38, and I'm going to type in AF interface default. Now see how my adjacency comes up? Default. I'm going to type in shutdown. That's going to break it. I'm going to go to exit out of here, type in AF interface Ethernet 1/0, and type in no shutdown. That's going to get my adjacency back up. Now that I have my IGP configured, I can go to router BGP 38 and type in neighbor 2001:38:8 remote AS of 38, and then I have to go to address family IPv6 and type in the neighbor here and then activate it, and also at the same point in time 8 and type in route reflector client. And that's all there is to it. And we're going to be peering off the local interface. If we had a loopback, we could do the update source off of that. And I don't think I have one, but we can configure one, and that's easy to do too. We'll type in interface loopback 0. We'll type in IPv6 address is going to be autoconfig. So that's going to get us that. We're going to type router BGP 38. We'll type in address family IPv6, and we'll type in the neighbor of 2001:38:8, and we'll type in address family IPv6. We'll type in neighbor of 2001:38:8. We'll type in the update source. Oh, you know what? That's done here at the neighbor statement. So the neighbor statement should be right. We'll type in update source is loopback 0. Okay. Now we don't have adjacency up yet, so that's why I did it ahead of time. We're going to go to router 8 and do the exact same thing. We're going to type in exit out of here. We'll type in interface loopback 0, IPv6 address is going to be autoconfig. I don't really care what the address basically is what that's saying. Router BGP 38. We're going to type in neighbor of 2001:38:3, and we'll type in remote AS of 38. We'll also type in the update source of loopback 0. It doesn't matter. Once it's done on one side, it's okay. We'll type in address family IPv6, and then we're going to pull this in. We'll type in activate, and then we're also going to type in route reflector client. So that should get our adjacency up. And what I'm going to have to do now, and now what that won't actually, it won't actually bring our adjacency up. What's the one thing we'll have to add in here? If we type in do show IPv6 EIGRP interfaces, what don't we have? We don't have loopback 0. So we have to go back to router EIGRP CCNP, type in address family IPv6 autonomous system 38, and we had to type in AF interface loopback 0, type in no shut. Now if we type in that same command again, now we have loopback 0 enabled. We're going to go over to router 3 and do the exact same thing. We have to go type in router EIGRP CCNP, type in address family IPv6 autonomous system 38, and we'll say AF interface loopback 0, no shut. And we should get, we won't actually get the nothing EIGRP related will show up. So we'll type in do show IPv6 route. We'll have do show IPv6 EIGRP interfaces. Do show IPv6 interface brief. Okay, loopback 0 is advertised. Do show IPv6 interface brief. Do show IPv6 route. And he's not getting anything. do show IPv6 EIGRP neighbors. Okay, we have the adjacency, which is a good sign. Okay, so we have a small problem here because BGP won't come up until we have the addresses identified. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to router 3, and I'm going to type in interface loopback 0. I'm going to try a different address because I think it's because of the fact that I'm using a link local address. IPv6 address is going to be 2001 colon. Obviously, let's use FC0. FC00 or yeah FC00 colon 3/128. Incomplete command. Oh, 00. There we go. And we're going to go over to 8 and do the same thing. So interface loopback 0. IPv6 address is going to be FC00 colon 8/128. So do show IPv6 interface route. There it goes. That's better. So now we have that. So do ping, and I want to ping this address. I can talk to it. Now let's see, do show BGP IPv6 unicast summary. Three is idle, 7 is idle. Did I? Let's see here. Why is that idle? Let's see here. A little bit of troubleshooting for us this afternoon, or this evening. So, let's see, we have 38. That's okay. And 7. Let's go to 7 real quick. Let's get that one figured out. So, do show IPv6 interface brief. Oh, so interface serial 2/0. IPv6 address is going to be 2001 colon 87 colon 7 /64 /64, and that should get our adjacency up there. There's no IP address. We'll type in do show run pipe section BGP. There it goes. Our adjacency's up there. Let's go to 8. So we have that one. The next thing we have to do is figure out why 38's not working here. So we're going to say, let me see here. Do show run pipe section BGP. We have the update source set correctly. We have the it's activated, and we also have the route reflector client configured. So why else would it not be working? Oh, I know why. Because our configuration is wrong. That's why. So we're going to type in router BGP 38. We have to type in well, it's actually going to be neighbor of FC00 colon 3 remote AS of 38, and the update source is loopback 0. That's what our problem is. And our address family IPv6 we're going to type in is activate, and we're also a route reflector client. Route reflector client. So we're just going to take that information over to 3 and do the exact same thing. So there actually, it's going to start, should come up. Router BGP 38. And actually it's going to tell me that we have a, let's see, we have an issue because it's being formed at the wrong interface is what it's basically telling us. We'll type in neighbor of FC00 colon 8 remote AS of 38. We're going to type in the update source is loopback 0. And then we'll type in address family IPv6 is activate. and we're going to also say we are a route reflector client. That's actually going to bounce the neighbor, and then we'll be back up. So now if we go to now, but we still have the issue with the original config. So even though our adjacency is up, it should keep squawking at us. So if we type in do show run pipe section BGP, we have to actually get rid of the this original config, this 38. So if you're here and you exit out of here, you type in no and pull this guy out right here. That'll take care of everything else. Everything else should come out because we don't have anything else tying to it. And it did. It pulled all the other config out. We'll go to 8. We'll type in do show run pipe section BGP. We'll type in no and pull that guy out. And that will be the end of it. So that'll get us that. So now that we have that situated, now if we go to router 2, and let's actually just jump up here real quick and do a do show run again. So our config is much better. We're going to go down to 2, and we're going to say show IPv6 route. And look what all the routes we have. We have the 34, 38, 87, 100, and we have the 108. So if I did a trace route to 2001:108:10, I can get there. So that means we have everything going through. And right now, the way that it's set up is BGP 38 is going to be a transit autonomous system, meaning that your configuration is going through that setup. So that is why everything is working the way it is. So, and that's applicable for an IASP, and that is it's going to be a transit. You're using it to reach somebody else. So that's the idea behind that. So everything's working as far as we're concerned. If we were to do a show BGP IPv6 unicast, this is our routing table. Everything looks good. I could do pretty much anything I need to from here. So that goes to show you just a couple of config changes, and a lot of things change. Now, the one thing here that I wouldn't recommend you do is have the redistribute connected, because basically what's ended up happening is it's redistributing everything to you. So that means 2 can ping what normally would be a private address in the provider's core to spin up their BGP configuration. That would not be advertised. So you would actually advertise via the network command, or you would do a prefix list filter to remove that and go from there. So that's pretty much what I wanted to show you in this video. I hope it was, all you thought it would be. This wraps up our IPv6 section. The next things we're going to be talking about are going to be the security and the services for CCNP route, and that'll wrap it up. There's not going to be a whole lot for security. Should be maybe 1, maybe 2 videos at the most, and then we'll get in and get the configuration for services going, and I'm going to spend a significant amount of time on that because there are so many services, and everything's going to be for IPv4 services, because 95% is going to be cover all for configuration for IPv6. The one thing I'm going to show you though real quick on router 2, since we're already here, we're going to go to global config, and one thing you can do underneath the interface, we'll type in interface Ethernet 1/0, is you can type in IPv6 ? And you have a lot of commands here. I'm going to expand this out a little bit, and you can type in here, and we're going to type in ND ? And we have a lot of capabilities under here, what we can actually advertise, and we're going to type in RA, and we're going to say what we want to advertise. So we're going to let's see here. We want to RA. No, it's not RA. It's there's an NA, neighbor advertisement. No, that's not that either. What is that command again? I honestly don't remember. But basically the idea here is if you wanted to, let me clean this up just a little touch there. right now router 1, if we were to do a show IPv6 route, we don't have anything in there. If we were to go to router 1 and type interface Ethernet 1/0 and type in IPv6 autoconfig, or IPv6 address is autoconfig, and insert default route. We don't have to type that in. It should automatically, or well, let's type in default route. And do a show run interface Ethernet 1/0. That's we type in show IPv6 interface brief. We'll say that we have 2001 because it gleans it off of what it's learning from router 2 through neighbor advertisement. And to show IPv6 route, we would see that we have a default route coining out, and it's directly connected. So it's going to try to reach out to FE80:2. And if we were to try to, let's see here. If we tried to do a trace route to 2001:108:10, I don't think that's going to work. Yeah, because I'm not what do you call it? I'm not advertising this link in. So if I was to go to router 2 and go to router BGP 1267 and type in address family IPv6 and type in network of 2001:200:/64, or I'm sorry, not 200, 100. And then go to router 1. There, it gets to where it needs to go. So now it's able to reach its destination and everything works out. So because of the fact that you're advertising what you need to advertise, and basically it's via DHCP, because we advertise the default route in. So again, I hope this has been informative for you, and I'd like to thank you for viewing.